rules of criminal procedure scandalous case? Yes, because as a lawyer who represents people accused of crimes, I believe that they are innocent until proven guilty. I believe in holding the government to its burden of proof. Even though that client may not be well viewed in society or culture, that doesn't mean that they deserve to go without good legal representation. So I would take that case if I had the requisite degree of qualifications. I don't ever want anyone to get hurt, but if you are going to get hurt, you're going to want to do it at one of these major retailers: Home Depot, Lowe's, Target, Walmart, Burlington Coat Factory, grocery store chains, Hannaford, ShopRite, Dollar General, Family Dollar, Macy's, JCPenney, Super Kmart, Kohl's, CVS, Walgreens, Rite Aid. I won cases against all of those major retailers. If you get hurt at one of those stores, make sure you give me a call.
Do you have a least favorite insurance company?
Yes, undoubtedly, Progressive. We call Progressive aggressive in the industry, and the reason they got the aggressive label is because they are the worst at pursuing accident victims within 24 to 48 hours of the accident in an effort to get them to take a nominal, say, $1,000 settlement, sign a release, and then the injured person is forever barred from pursuing a claim. I think that practice is absolutely disgusting, and Progressive does it. I also hate Progressive because they're cheap on bodily injury claims. They haven't increased the values despite inflation, despite the passage of time. I hate Progressive.
Is it illegal to give free advice as a lawyer?
No. We're supposed to do pro bono work. In New York State, there is a requirement that lawyers do a certain amount of pro bono work every year. And actually, when we register as attorneys and to maintain our license, we have to swear that we satisfied that pro bono obligation. Believe me, I give so much free legal advice. I satisfy that pro bono requirement every year without question.
If somebody borrows my car and gets into an accident, are they covered under my insurance?
As long as you gave them permission, as long as they had the permission to use your vehicle, it's called permission and consent, then they are covered. They're a covered person. So it's not a problem at all to let anyone in your life borrow your vehicle. You could let a total stranger borrow your car. As long as you let them do it, they're covered. But if you're gonna let your 17-year-old son drive your car every day to and from school, the insurance company might disclaim at a later date, if they find out that this person had regular access to the car and you attempted to avoid an insurance premium increase by not naming that person as an insured on the policy. The insurance company is going to want to adjust the premium accordingly. And if they find out, that could be a problem. And I have seen that be a problem.
Is putting someone who can only communicate with sign language in handcuffs a violation of their First Amendment rights?
Well, that depends on context, because First Amendment right is not without limitation. So if you're being arrested for committing a crime and they handcuff you, there's no First Amendment violation. Unless the police are putting the handcuffs on you on that person for what they were saying, then you'd have a First Amendment right. But if the person stole something from a store and they get handcuffed, then no.
If you want to get a sense of how State Farm really is, let me tell you this story. I handled a case where a woman lost her home to a fire. She was traveling in a different part of the state. She filed a claim with State Farm. State Farm contrived, made up a claim that my client torched her house. Had zero proof of it. The fire department could not determine the cause of the fire. State Farm refused to pay this woman the value of her home. So that means she could not replace it. She had no coverage for finding an alternative place of living because State Farm denied the claim on the false allegation that she torched her own home. It was total bullshit. I filed suit, and before they even answered the complaint, State Farm's lawyer called to settle the case. It was absolute garbage, but this is par for the course of State Farm. It is not illegal to drink and then drive. This means that in theory, you could have a drink at a party, at dinner, just home, whatever you're doing, maybe golf, and then get in the car and drive. There is no law that prohibits you from drinking and then subsequently driving your car. What is illegal is driving while ability impaired or while under the influence. Well, how do you know if you are? That may be more difficult, which is why people might advise that you not drive a car after consuming alcohol. But in all probability, if you have one drink and then get into your car to drive yourself to wherever it is that you're going, you will not be found guilty of the vehicle traffic violation known as driving while ability impaired or the misdemeanor felony felony crimes of driving while intoxicated.
We've got to talk about Young Thug's lawyer. This guy is the GOAT. He was just held in contempt of court in the middle of an ongoing trial. But why? Here's the deal. Young Thug is on trial facing federal RICO charges. The government had an informant, a person who agreed to testify on behalf of the government. In exchange, he was granted immunity. The witness was. That means the witness was probably a criminal, had engaged in criminal acts. The government caught him. And in exchange for his testimony against Young Thug, the government granted him immunity from prosecution. So during the trial, the government calls this witness to the stand, and the witness pleads the fifth. He doesn't want to incriminate himself. However, he had been granted immunity. So he really had no Fifth Amendment right left. It was no longer necessary. So the judge held the witness in contempt. They put him in jail over the weekend. Well, come Monday, Young Thug's lawyer, Brian Steele, accuses the court of having an ex parte meeting with the witness who would not testify. Ex parte means that there was a meeting in front of the judge and not everyone was present. Apparently, the people that were present were the judge and the prosecutor and the witness, according to Brian Steele anyway. What happened is, apparently, or at least as alleged by Brian Steele, the judge and prosecutor coerced that witness into testifying. They basically threatened him with more jail time if he would not testify. He would be held in contempt. And so Brian Steele accused the court of having a ex parte communication, which is totally inappropriate if it happened. And the judge responded by telling Mr. Steele to disclose the person who told Mr. Steele that this ex parte meeting happened. I don't know whether the judge denied it or not, but the judge wanted to know who told Mr. Steele that the meeting happened. And Mr. Steele refused to make that disclosure, citing a number of concerns, including attorney-client privilege. What did the judge do in response? He held the lawyer, Young Thug's lawyer, in contempt and jailed him. He said he's going to put him in jail for 10 consecutive weekends. If that wasn't cool enough, Young Thug's lawyer's response: can I share a cell with my client so that we can prepare for trial? This guy's the GOAT.
Hello.
Beth Ann?
Yes.
This is John DeGasper. How are you?
Good, how are you?
I'm doing well, thanks. Is it okay if I record this call?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, great. So I think I have good news for you.
Okay.
I settled your personal injury claim against the tortfeasor, the one who caused your car accident, for the full policy limits of $100,000.